Alright, it's me, Zach. Every now and then, I like to draw a mandala. It's very meditative. I divided this one up in an unusual way, and I had this idea that I'd do a mandala that was hidden behind these pillars of energy or something, these walls of light. But as you'll see, it didn't really go that way. So I started drawing in all these petals, and at first I was thinking that they were only going to be poking through the gaps in the walls of light. I don't even know if you can see what I'm talking about, these walls, but they were in my head, and I was thinking this mandala was going to be like the walls are made of glass or light, and the mandala was like shining through. This part of the pattern definitely has some Thai inspiration. If you look at Thai temples, they have a lot of these tiered petals and curves and spirals. The way they do it on the temples, it's almost like fire. They got a really cool, unique style. Definitely worth checking out. But as I was drawing this, I was thinking about how meditative mandalas actually are to draw. And I thought I'd make a list of all the ways I meditate. When I'm drawing a mandala, I like to draw the first part in silence and try not to think about it too much. Just see what happens, It's kind of intuitive, but in an informed way. I'm not just splatting things on there in a circular pattern and seeing what happens. But that's not to say that that is bad or that wouldn't have a better outcome. In fact, it probably would. That's more of an introspective way of drawing, or rather painting a mandala, because that technique definitely works better with paint because you can layer it on. But yeah, that is all about pure emotional expression. And that's not exactly what I'm doing here. It's more of an attempt to focus and still the mind. And it works because you have to concentrate, but you don't really have to think at all. So all you have to do is focus on the act of drawing. Another way I like to meditate is a walking meditation. I actually made this one up on the spot one day a long time ago, but I'm sure other people have been doing it for a long time before me. One day I was walking around in the forest. This was during what my mate and I call Wild Man Month. We were just living in the forest for a month. Anyway, I was walking down this path one day and I started counting my steps. But instead of counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, I was counting 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and working my way up. And it seems easy at first, but once you get past 10, then it gets hard to keep track. And that's what keeps you in the meditative state. You can't let your concentration slip for 1 second, because then you forget where you were and you have to start all over again. It trains your mind to push thoughts aside instantly, because as soon as a thought pops in, you're interrupted. You've interrupted the count, and you've got to let it go before you lose track altogether. I remember that day in the forest, I got up to 36. And then after that, I always wanted to beat 36. So in a way, I kind of gamified meditation, because you just want to focus so much to beat your personal best. And there's no way to cheat it, because you're only lying to yourself. Then there's the Zazen way of meditating, which is to empty the mind completely. This is probably what most people think of when they think of meditation. And most people struggle with it because they think they're doing it wrong. The idea is to sit and empty the mind completely. Thoughts will come, you let them come, but you don't feed them. There's a quote actually in the book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. He says, in Zazen, leave your front door and your back door open. Let thoughts come and go. Just don't serve them tea. Sometimes I like to draw geometric shapes. So nothing original, nothing new, not really that creative, just geometry. You know exactly what's coming. There are no surprises, and you have to carefully draw the shape as accurately as possible, which takes intense concentration. It feels like a balancing act, and at any minute it could all come toppling down. And in that, you find the flow state where your breath slows down and everything goes silent. It's pretty cool to be able to do that at home. You can pretty much apply this to any activity, like doing the dishes mindfully or building something out of wood. But I found it comes most naturally in two ways. The first is drawing geometry, and the other is when you go in high speed on anything with wheels. My final go-to meditation technique is one I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. This one is crazy. You have to sit and focus on your energy centers, aka your chakras. You start at your root and you work your way up. And as you're focusing on them, you also have to squeeze the muscles around them for 5 seconds at a time. And when you get to the heart, you bless it with positive emotions like love and gratitude. This is to raise the frequency of the chakra. And when you get to the top, you poke the top of your head with your fingernail and imagine sucking up the energy through your spine like a straw to the top of your head. I know that one's pretty out there, but I'm open-minded, and every time I've done that, it's pure bliss. So, as you can see with this mandala, I ended up abandoning the idea of the pillars of light and everything, but I still think it would be a cool idea. I've just got to figure out a better way to pull it off. But anyway, those are some ways I like to meditate. One of them is drawing mandalas. But how about you? How do you like to meditate?